Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We are going to be giving you an overview of the South Carolina Power Team's site selection website. My name is Elisa Sklar, and I'm the VP of Marketing at GIS Planning. I am delighted to be on the call today with Rebecca Breland from South Carolina Power Team and with Stevie Field Chavez. Hello, both of you.
Good morning.
Rebecca, do you want to tell us a little bit about the web tool and what SC Power Team is going to be using it for and what you'd like everyone to know?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. We're glad you're with us this morning to explore our site selection tool. It is a very robust tool, and we just want to kind of refamiliarize everybody with what it is capable of and introduce you to some of its new features that we have added recently. So we're glad you're with us again, and we just hope you learn something and take something away from it. As always, if you are ever using it and you need help, just feel free to reach out to me. I will be glad to guide you through the process.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I appreciate that. And Stevie, before I hand this over to you for our tour, I just want to offer a little bit of an overview of the kinds of things we're going to be looking at today. GIS Planning Zoom Prospector tool has all kinds of different features that Stevie will be walking us through, including interactive data tools, map tools, our dynamic tools. Now, dynamic data means that as you adjust filters like drive time, for example, or radius, the data in the reports updates immediately on the fly, which makes it very convenient and efficient for analysis. She's going to show you how you can save properties and communities without having to create a login. She's going to show you how you can do some 3D rendering and how you can share. Our powerful share button makes this tool really a critical, convenient, and super effective part of your place marketing mix. Now, Stevie, it is wonderful to be able to do this with you, as we often do. I'm going to hand over the presenter controls to you for your tour.
Wonderful. Okay, Elisa, I hate to ask the question. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Good. If pandemic has taught us one thing, it's we always have to ask, can you see my screen and can you hear me now? So let's just jump into this. We're going to go pretty fast because we have a lot to cover in just showing you how the application works. As Rebecca stated, I know that she and her team are always available to answer questions on how to use the application. I'm starting with their homepage. Actually, they've got a new website, so I love how clear it is to share where I need to go for what information I'm looking for. We're going to start with our site selection tools and go straight to our property search. This is going to take you into the application, and all of the tools are here in front of you. A couple of things I want to bring your attention to is that in your title bar up here, you have several kind of hyper searches, I think is going to be my technical term for this: property search, explore communities, compare labor study, water sewer study, and FDI information. So these pieces are the real meat of the application, and this will take you immediately to the one that you've selected, and so you can get there really quick if you need to. And for those of you on the call, if you hear the little tinkling in the, I have a little puppy back here, so we've hopefully bribed him with enough treats that he'll be quiet during the webinar. So at first glance, you see the ability to search by location, city, county, state, or a region. The information is defined for you, so you can just select by starting to enter a letter and it will auto-populate sites, buildings, minimum and maximum size or acres, for sale or for lease, and various types of properties or buildings. You also have the all filters search, which allows you to search by not only geography and address or property name, but specific building details like sale rate, lease rate, port name, or various property assets which are specific to communities here in South Carolina. So also a keyword, sometimes you just might have a keyword that might be important for you and you want to make sure that property has it, and that's where you would enter it. All of the maps are interactive, so of course scrolling in and scrolling out is not a problem. A couple of things I want to bring into attention on the map toolbar is the ability to pinpoint. Instead of doing a property search, if you need information on a specific intersection or pinpoint or just an area of interest, you can always just select pinpoint and drop a pin on the map and get data within a user entered radius. That means you enter the radius that you're looking to get that data from that particular space. You can also measure from any one point to another point, and we have the ability to search by address, draw a radius, and even draw some horribly squiggly line and only search the highlighted area for available sites and buildings. As we know, projects sometimes don't really care what city and county they're in. They are just looking for the right place for their expansion or relocation, and this just allows them to search an area that might be important for them. So a couple of other things is the ability to save properties. You can see I've got my blue filled in heart here on some of my properties. This one is not saved, so I'm going to save this and I'm going to actually include it in my folder. Your folder is your saved results here in your top right side, I guess, if you're looking at the screen. And this is going to present to you all of the folders that you've saved properties and the properties that you've saved within them. I want to stress that the entire application is free for you to use. So you can have multiple folders here for different projects that you're working on, and you can actually save and share those folders to use for a later time. As long as you don't clear your cache, those folders will stay in your inbox. So you can see I've got Project Tigers here that has 3 different properties, and then Project Gamecocks, which has 6. And this allows me to kind of view all of the different properties that we have going on, and I can make a decision based on, you know, the data that I see. You can see I have them mapped interactively on a map. So let's say you're working on a project and you're talking to your prospect, and you have 6 different properties that work for them that you want to be able to communicate to them. Rather than downloading on a PDF and attaching all of these as a PDF, share. That share button is going to be your magic button for this whole experience, because you're able to communicate not only the picture but the data that you're currently seeing on the screen just with a link. You can email directly within the application itself. It will provide you a link that you can copy, rename your link. I always suggest that you rename your link. You can include that in an email, a social media newsletter or electronic newsletter. On your website, you can embed that link in your website if you want to grab all of the properties that happen to be in your area. You can even share on social media. Once your prospect receives this link, they're going to click it, and it's going to take them directly into this page live in the GIS application. And that's a big deal, because now they're able to do their own search from the properties that you've picked out for them, and they can decide which property maybe works for them. So let's take a look here at our York County Data Center, and we'll kind of look at some of the inside data that goes along with the application. So this is the data center site here in York, South Carolina. You can see it's hearted. You can see I've got additional documents because this is highlighted, so I can click on this and see that we have a PDF here that I can look at it at my discretion. We have a custom tour, so South Carolina Power Team has drone imagery and custom tours that are attached to, I believe, every property. We also have your 360 virtual tour, a map view, a street view, and a 3D rotation. So you have multiple ways to look at the property without even setting boots on the ground. Here's your video. I can select that. I can contact Warren directly. That gives me direct access to email or to call Warren. And then these are the different property details for this specific property. City and county profile we'll touch on in here in just a little while. So, but you have multiple links to city and county information, which is important for all of you economic developers out there. Project availability, site details, utility information, etc. It really just kind of goes on. They did a really great job of making sure that the information is full and complete. And so there's a lot of data here. We also have hyperlinks to all of the different electric cooperatives across the state. So you're welcome to click on any of those as well. And that's this part here is static. So you will see this on multiple pages, which is great. A lot of this information is really easy to get to. One of our new features is our 3D rendering tool. This is available for every property, every site. It is free to use and you can draw as many of them as you want. So I'm going to select 3D rotation. You can see I got a lot of trees here, and I'm going to draw, hopefully you can see my blue line. I'm kind of moving that around. I'm going to draw just some crazy little building here on my map, and you're going to see I'm going to get my instructions on how to use the 3D tool. I can zoom in, zoom out, and rotate using my mouse. I'm going to close that section down. I'm going to actually increase my height so we can see it, and I think I'm going to decorate this building. So I might make this a brick building with windows. Let's make it a couple of additional sections here and maybe a couple of floors. That's probably quite a big building. And now I'm going to scroll in. Whoops, let me scroll in. It's telling me how to scroll in. There we go, scroll out. And now I can actually look at this 3D building, and I can draw as many of these as I want. I can cancel it and redraw. If I decide to apply this building, now watch up here on your property card, I'm going to apply this building. It's going to ask me what I want to save it as, and now my 3D design is attached to this property card. Now it's important to say that I attached it to this property card, but no one but me can see it. It's not actually saved to the permanent property card. It's just there until I clear the cache in my computer and it resets. However, Power Team can see all of the 3D designs that are drawn, and if they see one that's just really, really great, they can actually make it a permanent part of that property card. So don't be intimidated to draw a building. It doesn't matter. If you don't like it, you can cancel, reset it. If you like it, you can always share it. And so I can give my prospect an idea of what a building would look like on this particular site. So if you have any questions on how to use this, don't hesitate to call us or call the Power Team. Sorry, I always do that. And they can explain it to you on how to use that, and again, how to share. We're going to hit that share button several times during this presentation, just so you can remember that it's there for you to use. So South Carolina Power Team is actually, they have a different site than some of our other clients, than several of our other clients, because they actually have components to their application that no one else has. The first of this being their labor force study. So the labor force study is going to show some information like basic labor availability, available industrial workforce, commuting overall, and I love that they actually provided an explanation of what this means. So not only you, but if you want to share this this information, this report with anyone, they'll actually have a definition of what this data is actually bringing attention to. 0 to 60 minutes, 0 to 60 miles from any one pinpoint or property of interest. It does cross city, county, and state line, so you will get additional data. If you select minutes on any of the tabs above for data, it's going to ask you about mode of transportation, date, and time. This is important because you're going to get a lot further on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock than you would maybe on a Monday evening at 5. And so your data is going to reflect the differences of that. I know the labor study was a commissioned study. I believe it's updated annually. Rebecca, if I didn't get that right, jump in.
That's correct.
Okay.
I can speak to it a little more. I mean, the labor study was done in 2017, rolled out in 2018 as an effort to really understand the overall commuting patterns within the state and the underemployment rate as opposed to the unemployment rate, which are defined there. So yes, like Stevie said, it is updated annually with kind of that underlying data of demographic data to so that the percentages reflect current demographics. But most recently, we have updated it with a more deep dive update with really analyzing the drivers of that underemployment number to get a better understanding. So we're seeing about a 14.8% underemployment rate average statewide. And so all that data that is on the site now has recently been input in the last, I guess, couple of months.
It's an amazing study, and one that all of you in economic development or site selection, working with prospects, you have access to this. It is free again for you to access, to share, to print, to PDF. You have access to all of that. It's just right at your fingertips. One thing I want to, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add, even if you're not looking at a cooperative site that's on our system, you can easily drop a pin anywhere in the state, and the data is statewide and goes into Georgia and North Carolina. So it is applicable for any site, but you may just have to drop a pin to get there.
You can drop a pin, and you can access it as well by community, and we'll take a look at that here in just a little bit. One of the things I want to draw attention to is the ability to look at data in different ways. First of all, you could see just while Rebecca was speaking, I was activating different tabs and how fast the application runs, which is really important. I think 2 clicks or less, you should find the information you seek, and you shouldn't have to wait a long time for that information to upload. So that's super important. I can not only see the data that we have, but I can also see it on a map, which is really important because they complement each other. I'm a visual person on data, so we have the ability to look at the data in multiple ways as well. This little toggle here will provide you with heat maps or heat signature. This is your graph chart, so you can have a report form, graph form, or heat signature. So there's multiple ways to look at data and all of how you absorb that data. We are also ADA compliant, so for those of you who know James, you know that he's colorblind, and so we have colors here which he may or may not be able to differentiate. So I can select that toggle, and it's going to take me into different patterns, which provide that ADA compliance, which is a really big deal right now. Communities are getting hit hard with that, and so we were pleased that we were able to provide that information. Business data. Business data is provided by, used to be called Info USA, now they are known as Data Axle, and they're going to provide information such as the different industries as well as number of employees. We have subcategories to all of the different industries that we have. I probably selected the wrong one. So I can search as well by number of employees, annual revenue, NAICS codes, and various industry clusters, which have all been already defined for you. So you can select any of these industry clusters. I can also see which ones are turned on, turn those off, turn whatever other one on, and I can really kind of drill down into various pieces of data. This information is updated daily. As Data Axle updates their information, this information will update automatically. So it's as current as it can possibly be. We also have this information now available by country. So this is, we're talking about, you know, all companies that are German-based companies within 10 miles of a particular, what we have here is a site selected. So you can see I've got the names of the companies, the addresses of which those companies, and a website. So, and this is just historical data. So all companies that are Chinese based or Denmark or Germany, you can see the list here. I can select, and again, 0 to 60 minutes, 0 to 60 miles from any pinpoint or site of interest. That's a perfect lead into our FDI data. Our FDI data is going to take us into similar information in terms of foreign companies that are here in South Carolina, but this is going to bring in all companies that came within the last 7 years. So it's a 7-year investment. I can search by projects, by jobs, by investment, and I can map each one individually. 0 to 60 minutes to 0 to 60 miles from any one pinpoint. And mapping is going to show me where these companies are located. Let me find, oh, those are US based. Let me find, here we can go into German owned companies. So you can see we've got a lot here in I think we're in the York area. Let's look at, let's see. So you can see kind of on a map in general where they're located. We aren't able to pinpoint these directly, but you can see by just your heat signature where the concentration of, for instance, Canadian-owned companies might be. You can see here in the Greer-Spartanburg area. So this data is provided by the Financial Times and FDI Markets and is updated, I believe, annually. Let's go on to our demographic information. Demographics are going to provide demographics. We have labor force and consumer expenditures that are all provided by Applied Geographic Solutions, updated twice a year. 0 to 60 minutes, 0 to 60 miles. Again, you have the ability to look at information in multiple ways. And we've got wage and salary, which is going to be provided by MSA. This is going to provide our different categories, mean and median hourly and mean and median annual information. Y'all, that's a mouthful, but I'm sure that you got that. So here we have our categories as well as our subcategories, and again, the ability to look at this in heat signature because we really want to be able to concentrate on where the different data points are, and it just makes it real easy to absorb that data. Labor force information is going to break up different pieces of data such as establishments by employees. We have businesses by establishment type. Just going to break it out into different types of industries. This information is also Applied Geographic Solutions, updated twice a year. Consumer expenditures, don't forget to hit your more button because you've got a lot more going on under there. Here is where our residents are spending their money. Notice you don't need to download a PDF to look at the data. You can look at this data as well as the map, just side by side, and then again, you have the ability to share that information. Talent is going to answer the question of what type of talent do we have graduating from our learning institutions and what field of study are they studying. So we have our top 5 programs by number of graduates, our top universities by number of graduates, and then our field of study with the degree that our graduates are graduating with and from which learning institution. So it's a lot of really deep kind of data information that again you can share or print out and include in your in a proposal. Occupation data is going to be your MZ data. It provides annual, hourly, and job information by both occupation and NAICS code, 0 to 60 minutes, 0 to 60 miles. And very similar to the labor force or to the wage and salary information, it has your categories and subcategories. The difference is this is by zip code, where wage and salary is by MSA. So that's the difference between the two. And then I mentioned your city county profile. This information is here. You can access this multiple times. And this is going to provide just an overview, a really cool kind of infographic that has interactivity to it that will provide you information about the community itself. We're going to speed it up a little bit here. Map layers. This is super important. So they have South Carolina Power Team has many different local map layers. We have different energy, environmental, geography, different incentive map layers, and they also have excess water and wastewater capacity. Rebecca, you want to share a little bit about that for us?
Sure. This is the statewide water and wastewater study that we conducted and rolled out in 2020. The purpose was to really get an understanding of where water and sewer capacity is across South Carolina. We identified all the systems and providers with at least 2.5 million gallons a day of excess capacity, and then honed in on those to get a better understanding of what that capacity, where that capacity is within those systems. So you'll see as Stevie turns these layers on, the layers will populate, and keep in mind this is just a general location where we've dropped this icon, generally that type of service can be provided in the vicinity of that icon. But you'll see in the little pop-up where it tells you which cooperative this is located in, who the utility provider for water and sewer is, and what that capacity is at each location. So we are currently going through an update of that and should have all that data rolled out soon.
It's super helpful data and a really interesting map layer. I always love looking at these. Now, when you click map layers, scroll down to the very bottom, you're going to see excess wastewater capacity. I've already cleared the pop-up, so you might get a pop-up that explains what this study is, what this capacity study is, and then you close that out, select the map layer again, and then you can select the actual greater than capacity bubble that appeals to you, and then you're going to get your icons on a map. So that's how that works. So if you see the pop-up and the layer doesn't come up right away, it's really just explaining to you the information that you're looking at, which is really important when you're looking at a map layer such as this. And just like before, you have the ability to share this information. So as I can activate several different map layers when looking at a property, and when I share that map layer, when I share that the share button, any map layers that I've activate will also be part of that share. So you're really transferring a really picture. A couple of other things just real quick. I know we're kind of getting to the wire here. Explore communities. This has your community in it, your city, your county, your region. Do not be afraid to use this. You can share this just like before. We have all of the different communities across the state that are in here. We can view the details of any particular community. Here's your infographic, and here's all of those other data pieces. So again, you can share that. And I can also compare this community with another community. As long as you start with one community in the state of South Carolina, it can be a city or a county, I can compare that city or county to any other community across the nation. So I'm going to say Riverside County, California. That's just my former economic development hat. I can do several side by side. I know these are apples and oranges. And we can see we've got a tremendous difference in population here. I can look at labor force, multiple subcategories within this. I always love looking at consumer expenditures because I know Berkeley County has a lot of shopping, and so look at how those numbers evened out, even though we had such a difference. I mean, we're talking about a 2 million person difference between those communities, but look at the difference between consumer expenditures, not quite so much. So it's a great way to compare. We all know that we compete with communities, not necessarily our neighbors, but those that we lose projects to or those that we're competing against for that project. And this gives that kind of apple to apple comparison that you can again share or include as part of your proposal. With that, Elisa, I'm going to turn it back over to you and see if we have any questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stevie. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, you can put them in the questions field in the GoToWebinar control panel. I know that we walked through a lot of stuff here, and it's kind of a fast-paced tour and overview, but just a reminder that you will get a link to the video tomorrow so you can go back and review at your convenience. Maybe what I'll do is just put our, let me just grab the presenter controls so that I can put our, there we go, emails up on the screen. Rebecca, was there anything that you wanted to add as we look to closing this out?
I don't think so. I think Stevie covered it all very well. Again, just thank you for joining us, and hopefully you find this tool useful and beneficial in your day-to-day as you recruit industry to your area. And give us a shout if you need anything from the Power Team.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's just been an absolute pleasure working with you, Rebecca, and your team. We're really thrilled to be able to help offer this service to everyone across the state. Stevie, thank you for your tour. We appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy days and for the work you are doing for your communities. You will receive an email from us by tomorrow, and we look forward to connecting with you offline. Thank you all and have a great day.
Thank you.